There's something no one ever told Yahoo about getting older. Something that society tries to hide behind Botox ads, gym obsessions, and endless posts about glows and don't want you to know this. 'Cause if you did, you'd stop out enjoying. You'd stop chasing you'd realize, Seth, that the very things you thought were making you less attractive are actually making you undeniable. See, most men are right. Oh, they believe their prime ends in their 20s, that youth is the key to, but they compared themselves to younger guys with tighter skin, fast metabolism, and louder personalities. And they forget some of essential women's deepest attraction doesn't respond to it. It responds to depth. And depth doesn't come from age. It comes from experience, from serving things, from carrying pain, from learning to walk through fire and coming out calmer instead of colder. Through it, women really crave. Even if they say it out loud, they crave a mano's presence, calms the room, not competes for it. Ammon, whose silence speaks louder than a boy shouting. Mano doesn't need to be the center of tension because he is the center of his own world. And that man is, maybe you didn't see it yet. Maybe you've been subi, working, surviving, providing. Pushing through that, you haven't taken a step back to realize how much you've grown, but here's what most older men ever hear. You're becoming more attractive in ways you can't measure in likes or swipes. You're becoming magnetic. Not because you're because you've stopped trying a toe. You've started being, there's aquatech confidence that shows up in your eyes, a weight in your voice that wasn't there 10 years ago. A pause between your words that speaks volumes without trying to impress. You didn't need to charm. You don't need tochis. You don't need to prove anything. Then it will, because the most men, they don't push to be seen, that they simply exist in a way that can't buy. And Mabio started to feel it. The way younger men seek your guidance without tasking. The way women glance twice, not just at your looks, but at your stillness. The way people feel something when you speak, even if you're saying nothing at all. The presence, that's power. And that's exactly what I'm going to review in this video, because there are even specific signs that you may be more attractive than you realize, especially as you get older. These signs didn't show up on dating apps or in the media. Fish up in how women respond to, how they soften around you, how they open up without knowing why. If you've ever wondered whether era's still desirable or if your best years are behind you, stay right here, because I'm about to show you that your real prime as a man isn't behind you. It's just beginning. Let's get into it. There is a quiet transformation Thea pays to a man as he grows older. It doesn't happen all at, it's not marked by birthday or a promotion or a number in your bank. It's slower than that, quieter. It happens in the space between your past and your present, in the way you stop reacting to things that once shook, in the way you start speaking and meaning more, in the way you realize that the external chase, the attention, the approval, the validation was never where your value came from. For the men who walk that path fully, without resisting it, without clinging to youth, without pretending to bump something there or not. Something riddle begins to happen. They become magnetic, not flashy, not magnetic. Because attraction at this stage is about aesthetics. It's about energy. It's about the way a man stands when it knows who he is. It's the way he listens, interrupting The way he stays calm when others panic, the way he hasmals without needing anything in reader. This isn't the kind of attraction that gets shouted from rooftops. It doesn't always show up in Instagram likes or dating app matches, but it does show up in the way women line closer, in the way the trusty with stories they've never told anyone, nine, the way they feel safe around a buck, cause you're soft wood because say you're estable, and yet most men don't see it. They're too busy comparing themselves to Angerman, distracted by a culture we thought glorifies youth and overlooks gliopinth surface to realize that their very presence is now doing through work they used to force. So let me remind you of powerful value is increasing with age, becoming more refined, more precise, more undeniably to the women wokey matter, because the truth is a woman who's mature, self-aware, emotionally intelligent. She's not looking for a boy to she's looking for a man who Makesher feels safe in his energy, grounded in his purpose, clear in his communication, and unshakable in his emotional center. That kind of man doesn't have to try. Tobe attractive, he is attractive simply bang rooted in himself. So if you've been doubting your appeal, if you've looked in the mirror lately and questioned whether you've still got it, you've quietly wondered whether your prime years are behind you, let this video show you what's really happening. Balls. What you're feeling isn't at. It's a refinement, and the signs are all there. Subtle, quiet, pal. You've become more magnetic than a year before. In the next few minutes, I'll break down 7 clear signs that too, as an older man, are deeply attractive to women, even if you haven't fully seen it yet. These aren't cliches. They're not tricks. They're nuttings. You force. They're truths that draws tough surface when you stop. Chasing gon start owning who you are. Let's begin. When you don't seek attention, but you'll command it. There's a momentum a man's life when something shifts. He walks into a room and realizes he doesn't care what notices, and ironic ellithits. When because there's a different and come slow, deliberate, like it was nothing to prove and nothing to prove and nothing to hide. This is an indifference, the self-containment, and it's rare. Younger men often move with a sense of urgency, trying to be seen, heard, chosen, but the attractive older man, he no longer performs spell is, and women pick up on that. They may not know why they feel drawn to you, but they do because your energy whispers, I know who I am. I don't need to convince you. That sense of neediness is incredibly makes people trust you. It makes women feel curious, makes you unforgettable, not because you demand tension, but because you command presence to yours. Confidento, not empty. One of greatest signs of wisdom and is knowing when not to speak. You don't feel silence to avoid discomfort anymore. You've grown past. No, that silence is not awkward, powerful. It's space. It's presence. When used correctly, it's felt. Don't speak to be heard. You speak when it, and that makes your words severe, more meaningful, more grounded. Women love this, and older membakos, if they can feel that when Yautuk, it's not about proving your intelligence, it's about sharing value. You don't talk over people. You don't interrupt to dominate. You let others. You listen. And that listening is because what you fear is not conversation. It's connection. World full of noise. The man who knows how to look someone in thighs how to pause before speaking. He becomes magnetic. Your silence isn't a lack of words. It's the presence of three. You're calm under pressure and ISOs. You've seen now talk no that panic doesn't fix anything. You've been through breakups, betrayal, loss, business, and you've learned something most to maneuver. Calm is power, and that calm lives in your body. Now, you're no longer the man who gets defensive the moment you don't yell to get your point across. You don't lash out to feel in control. You breathe, center yourself. You speak from clarity, not emotion. And women feel that immediately. They lean toward men who carry that ground energy because in a world that feels you're the calm in the chaos. You make people feel, and the truth is, women aren't attracted to just looks or calm. They're drawn to the man who makes them feel emotionally secure. That safety comes not from your muscles, your money, or your lifestyle, comes from. And if you're far more attractive Stanford, you've outgrown the need to compete. When you were younger, you probably saw other men as rivals. You compared your success. You measured your progress against. You maybe even tried towing women's attention by outdoing somebody else. But now you've learned that competition. The constant notemanship is a trap. Because the real battle has always been with a man in mirror, and when you shifted your focusing towards something powerful, opened, Yao stopped chasing, started becoming, and that's when the attraction started to build. Because the man who's focused on self-mastery doesn't get distracted by petty ego. He's on his own path. He has nothing to prove, and the very thing you stopped comparing. Your journey, you started owning it. That's why women feel pulled toward you, not box. You trying to win them over, but because you radiate a man who's already won himself, know what you want and you don't apologize for it. Uncertainty is the of immaturity, and you've left that behind. The attractive older man walks with direction. It doesn't drift into situations. He doesn't say may want. He means no. He doesn't over-explain his choices to avoid rejection. Clear, grounded, and not afraid to walk away from anything that doesn't align. You know what kind of energy you allow to your life. No, the kind of woman you're drawn toned, the kind that drains you. You're no longer pulled by list, but by resonance. That kind of inner clarity is deep, because when a man knows what he wants and stands in it without fear, he becomes magnetic. Younger men try to mold themselves into how she wants, but you show up as sewer and let her decide as she fits into your world. That level of self-respect can't be, and it's why she looks at you not a wound. Every scar you carry has Astri, but more than that, it has Alice, and you've been lied to. You've been rejected. You've made mistakes. Fat, left, embarrassed, ashamed. Evan Buchu didn't stay there. Prajugru turned your pain into wisdom, and that wisdom lives in your words now. It shapes your intuition, shows up in the way you treat others, especially here. No one's watching. Women can sense when Eamon has done his inner work. He doesn't blame he doesn't project. He doesn't need her to fix what he's unwilling to face. You're not perfect, but you're self-aware. And that, Makasu, dangerous in its best way. Because when a man walks with his history, when it doesn't highlight, but doesn't live in it either, he becomes a source of strength. And women, especially ones who've had to be strong for too long, find themselves drawn to that butts in you, make her feel something Mossman can save without control. Here is Tipisleia, the rarest form of masculine attractiveness. You don't control her. You don't overpower her. You don't manipulate her. You simply create a space where she feels siphonado, soften. You don't flinch when she shows her emotions. Don't panic when she needs to process. You don't make sure feel too much. Let be, because you've learned how to hold yourself first, and that makes you incredibly attractive. Women are looking for men who can dominate a room. They're looking for a man who can hold down, a man who doesn't fold under pressure, a man who doesn't retreat when things get hard, a man who can remain calm while everything else gets loud. You're that man now, not because you've decided to be, but because shaped you that way. And that kind of presence, that kind of inner, it's about capacity. She doesn't want a man who controls her. She wants a man who can hold her. And if you've become a fat, trust me, you're ready, one of the most attractive men she'll ever meet. One of these 7-6 resonated with you, then you're not justing, you're evolving. Because true attractiveness does fade with time. It sharpens, deepens, it grows quieter and more readable. You're no longer here to just, you are here to hold tubs, to move like a man who doesn't task for things. He owns it with his presence alone. That's not something you can't fake. That's something you become. And if you felt yourself becoming fat man, if you're walking that path ever quietly, even imperfectly, then you've already stepped into a power most may never reach. That's what Stoic Stream is about. We're not here to teach tricks or games or gimmicks. We're here to remind you of what's already inside you waiting to be claimed. To give words to Twistamo we lived through Sharban, they go we earned through scars, heartbreak, and if this massage speaks to you, Bill subscribe storing, because this channel is forming. Like, you don't want to be louder, they want to be stronger, wiser. Present, more unshakable, envelop with. The comment below, which affirmations felt most true for you? What did you realize about yourself as you remember this? You're not behind. Are not less than. You're not. You are becoming the kind of man who doesn't need to announce his presence because his energy does it for stay calm. Stay rare. Stay grounded. That this is Stoic Stream and we're just that day started.